Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today I'm really excited to share with you my seed starting process. We're going to walk through all the tools that you need to get started, specifically these Vigo Gardens seed starting bundles. I'll even include a little bit of a review of the product as we go. We'll talk through all the tools you need, the instructions to get through it, and then, spoiler alert, I'm going to show you what they look like after they've germinated. Stay tuned, you don't want to miss this. Hit that like and subscribe button and let's get into it. Let's start with the tools you need for the job. Number one is going to be seed cells and trays and humidity domes. There's so many companies that sell seed starting cells and trays like Vigo Garden, Burpee, Epic Gardening. All those companies will sell those, and you can even pick them up at your local Walmart or Target, or you can make your own using some old berry containers or something like that. So the reason I bought these is because, number one, I love Vigo Garden. I started buying Vigo Garden and I never looked back because I feel like it's such a great product. I feel like it's going to last forever. Anyway, the way that this works is you're going to fill this up with soil, these cells, and then you're going to sow your seeds. Make sure your soil is moist already, and then you put your humidity dome on top, and you're going to fill this humidity dome hole right here. You're going to fill this with water, and there's a really small slit in the bottom, and that's how the water is going to drip and drip into that center section. This center section right here is going to distribute the water gently into all of these cells without disturbing the seeds that you just sowed. Once your seeds have germinated, you would remove these humidity domes and use a different technique for watering by watering from below. So you'll fill the tray with water instead of the humidity domes. So what I like about it is I like how they broke it up like this, because if I were to sow seeds in this one and say they germinate in 7 days or less, I can take that humidity dome and start watering from below. But maybe this is an herb and it doesn't germinate for another like 21 days or something like that. I can keep the humidity dome on these seeds. So you may want to think about that when you're choosing how to organize your seeds. Think about the germination time. As far as the soil used for the project, I'm just using Miracle-Gro seed starting mix. I picked it up at my local Lowe's. There's a variety of mixes that you can use. The important thing is that it's meant for young seedlings so that it has the proper drainage and everything for your seedlings, so they don't stay too moist, but they also don't stay too dry. Next, we obviously have seeds. I plan to plant a variety because I already have a variety going in the garden, but these are going to be like my backup plants. So whenever those in the garden are on their way out, they're dying, or I harvested the whole head of kale, I want to be able to backfill and transplant with another plant. So that's my approach. I'm planting lots of seeds today. And when it comes to, I don't know about you, but every time I sow seeds, I forget to label them, and then I regret it a week later when I can't remember what is planted in each cell. I always tell myself that I'm gonna remember, and then I don't. So anyway, I cut up a gallon of milk today, and I cut up these little slivers of the plastic, and I just plan to use a Sharpie to write on these slivers what the seed is and the date that I planted it, so I can keep track of it. And also, these are small enough that they'll fit under that humidity dome. And bonus, they didn't cost me anything. So I highly recommend using gloves for this. I am somebody that hates wearing gloves. I just feel like I want to feel the soil and everything like that, and I have a better, understanding of what's going on. I just like it so much better with no gloves. But I really hate how much I have to clean my fingernails afterwards. So I'm gonna suck it up, wear my gloves today. I hope you do too. Don't forget water. Now we're ready to start working with the soil. The first thing I'm gonna do is spray some water in the bag directly, and I'm gonna mix it up with my hands until it feels like the soil is a nice level of moist but not wet. And then I'm going to put these directly in the bag and scoop out the soil while I'm pressing it in. I'll pull it out and show you exactly like how much I'm tamping it down. I only pulled out 3 of these standard size cells because that's all I'm going to plant today. Just because the whole bundle is bigger than that doesn't mean I need to plant all of those seedlings today. My plan is to come back in about 2 weeks and sow some more seeds for other plants in the garden. That way, when something dies or is harvested out of my garden, I can quickly rotate it back in with another transplant that's ready to go. You could use a tray for this, but I just don't want to mess things up and then have to clean them up. I'm doing this on the grass so that I don't have to clean up the lanai after. So, you know, just do what works for you. Some people want the visual aspect of putting it on a tray and wetting it, but you can see the soil is nice and moist. I'll take my cell, scoop the soil right in there. While my hand's in the bag, I'm going to tamp down the soil. I want it to be about 3/4 of the way full and press down pretty good. The reason I'm pressing it down is because I don't want too much space throughout that seed cell. Because if there's too much space in the soil, what do you think the roots are going to do? They're not going to be secure. And I want to make sure that these are strong rooted plants. So let me scoop out that center. Okay, so it's a lot more than 3/4 of the way full, but I'm tamping it down, and then I'm going to put another layer, a little bit of soil on top without pressing it down. So there is going to be a loose layer right on top for the seedlings. Maybe not loose, it's just gently pressed, not nearly to the same level. I will say these seem to use a lot of soil. I did an entire tray the other day, or a couple weeks ago, and I used almost an entire bag of seed starting mix to fill up the standard size cells on one tray. This one I just did a little faster. I'm basically on the second layer already. That one's ready. I'm going to move on to this one, the third, but I don't even need to fill it up actually. I only have 2 cells that I really need to fill up, just because I counted what I wanted to plant. Chances are I miscounted though, so I'll fill up one more, just in case. All right, let's move these up to the table on top of the tray and we'll start sowing some seeds. So I went ahead and put my labels in the cells. So you can see I've got this entire tray pretty much is spinach. So I wrote the date, I wrote spinach, or just spin on some of them. It turns out I did miscount and I needed that one extra cell that I filled up. I've got some pumpkins, some Cherokee purple tomato and kale, and this one has a variety of items too. So you'll notice I took my gloves off. I can't stand sowing seeds with gloves on. I don't know if I'm the only one, but they're too small. I can't feel the seeds when I'm wearing gloves. Starting with my kale, dwarf blue kale from Botanical Interests. Been trying to buy heirloom seeds as much as possible so that I feel like the door is wide open for saving the seeds if it were to bolt or something like that. So it says 1/4 inch, which is basically right on top of the soil. 3 seeds every 18 to 24 inches, so I'm going to go ahead and put 3 seeds right there. I really think the germination rate is really good on these because it's a fresh seed packet. I probably don't even need 3 because I'm just going to thin it, but whatever. There's another kale back here that I labeled. Oh no, I spilled a lot of seeds. All right, that's it for the kale. I'm gonna go ahead and slightly cover the seeds as I go, just because when I did this the last time, I felt like I waited until the very end to do it and cover the seeds, and they were such small little herb seeds that I felt like I was potentially moving the seeds from one cell to the other because I was covering all of them at the same time. I don't know if that happened or not. We'll find out when they germinate. Let's speed this up a little bit. This is a Howden pumpkin. I don't know if I can really grow this here. I tried it last year. Barely got one pumpkin. But, you know, we're going to try for the sake of a jack-o'-lantern. Planted it. Actually, this needs to be pretty deep, 1 inch depth. I'm going to push it down in there pretty good. Spinach. We can do a lot of these right now because I've got 9 cells of spinach. And I think I'm just going to do 1 cell, 1 seed per cell. I have a really good germination rate about a month ago when I used these seeds. But it's just I planted them directly in the garden, and I'm a little frustrated that some birds or roly-polies or something keep running off with the seedlings. So I'm doing seed starting for my spinach now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Covering that up. You can, as a general rule of thumb, if you're unsure about how deep to bury a seedling or a seed, the bigger the seed, the deeper it goes. So something like a pumpkin seed that's really big is 1 inch. Something like a spinach seed that's like this big is about 1/2 inch. But something like a spinach or something like a kale, I think was like 1/4 inch, and some herbs even say just sprinkle it on top of the soil. Hold on, where's the, okay, here it is. Cherokee purple, tomato. I've never grown these before, but they supposedly work great in my Central Florida environment. Some of these, they have a seed packet within the seed packet. I'm not sure why they do that. Maybe it seems to happen on the smaller seeds. Maybe that's why. It says 3 seeds again, so I'm going to do that. I only want the 1 plant. Sometimes it's pretty easy to think that you want a whole lot of plants, but man, tomato plants can get pretty big. If you're not prepared to handle, like, you're just going to throw away the seedling. So, you know, trying to be a little careful about how many I plant of something. I'm planting this sugar baby watermelon. I already have one that's a few weeks old in the garden. I'm just nervous it's going to fail, and I want to try again this season. I don't want everything to be lost when that one watermelon fails. So this is a little bit of a backup plan. My plants, like the big squashes and stuff like that, they always seem to get powdery mildew because I live in such a humid and hot environment. So trying different ways to deal with that. One of the ways to deal with it is simply, you know, having a backup plan, a transplant ready to go. These are Boston pickling cucumbers. I have both slicing and pickling cucumbers in here, so I labeled it as Cuke P for pickling. That's a big clump of soil I want to break up. It's pretty windy out here. I would not recommend doing this in such a windy environment. But my house is a mess, so I sure can't film inside the house. cucumber slicing. Maybe I only did one, yeah. Oh, no, there it is. This is a Market More variety. I grew this one successfully last year, and I watched this really interesting video. I'll put a link to it in the description box below. It's from the Millennial Gardener. If you're not watching his channel, he's pretty good. I like him. But he had an approach I never heard before about cucumbers. He said, well, an approach and a tidbit of information that I didn't know. He said that cucumber plants will die if you let a cucumber ripen all the way on the vine. So you got to keep a close eye on it. And he's like, sometimes it gets pretty hard because it's so leafy. Some of them will hide behind the leaves and it's hard to see. So what he does as a backup is exactly what I'm doing, which is having a transplant ready to go. So we'll see. Just trying things. Shooting darts. That's what I say to my husband all the time. Shooting darts. Let's see what sticks. The last one is a jalapeno. I love jalapeno. And it's only available sometimes in my pickup order for groceries, so I'm going to just grow my own and stop needing to pick them up. So I sowed all the seeds. That was funny. I sowed all the seeds. Now what I'm going to do, since the soil is already moist, I'm going to go ahead and put my humidity domes on top of those cells, being careful to include the label in there. And then I'm going to come back in with the hose and show you how I fill up this hole and let it drip. Ready? Go. Okay, let me grab the camera and give you a close-up view of the watering. So here it is from a different angle. See how it's dripping? And it's dripping onto that spot in the center. And that spot in the center is how it distributes. Oh, I don't know why I just picked that up. It's how it distributes to all the cells. It's a little, let me show you on, see how there's these slits? This is where the water travels into those cells. It's a pretty cool design and it seems to work really well. And as soon as you see germination, you're going to remove these humidity domes. Here are some seedlings that I started maybe a week ago actually. It's chives, oregano, and thyme, and then I'm propagating some rosemary as well. And so I've already taken the humidity domes off, because if you look closely, you can see germination already happened. If you fail to remove the humidity dome when germination happens, you're really risking mold developing on your seedlings, and it's hard to recover from that. That's an environment where something like powdery mildew will just thrive. That's it for today's video. Hope you guys liked it. Stay tuned. We're gonna monitor these seedlings and see how they grow. We're gonna remove that humidity dome when it comes time. We're gonna transplant into the garden when it comes time. Hit that like and subscribe button, and I'll see you next time.